Greetings, everyone. My question is, after you have sponsored someone, what are the likelihood of you being able to deport that person? And before I answer the question, I'm going to say that a lot of individuals meet people from around the world and they get involved with them romantically. And in order to get to know the person, they marry shortly after they meet so that they can get to know each other. And that is a recipe for disaster. I'm not saying that it cannot work, because I'm testament or testimony to that fact that it can work, but it's a risk. And when I was sponsoring my partner, it never occurred to me that if this individual came and was unfaithful or ungrateful or whatever, that was going to be my option to deport. No, it wasn't. But what I want to really talk about is this. When the gentleman, and you know who I'm speaking of, is saying certain things online and appears to be, creating a sort of foot stamp to maybe argue for the position that his ex-partner, used him and, misguided him. I'm going to say to the people who are waiting for her to be deported, or even to him, is that you're going to have to wait with bated breath because it's not going to happen. Because the affidavit of support is put in place to ensure that you are responsible for this individual. And the reason why this is so, in the past, when, say, for example, a 60-year-old woman marries a 25-year-old guy, immigration used to deny those applications, and they used to say, no, this is a marriage of convenience, you're exploiting this female, and they would just outright say no because they could see what was happening. But here's how it would backfire on immigration. After they stamp deny, the individuals would still be together for another year, and when they put in their application again, they couldn't be denied because it clearly shows that they're in a relationship for a certain period of time. And so, what immigration decided to do is to put that affidavit of support in there to say, okay, after you're so love struck and love torn, and you're teenagers, that is the older persons marrying these younger people. Since you're so in love, we're going to make sure that your mistake does not come back to bite us, where you bring someone from another country to this country and then they have to go on welfare, or because you are not taking care of them or proving that you're able to take care of them, they have to be a burden on the system. So that thing is put in place to ensure that the person who is sponsoring will be held responsible or accountable for that person's well-being. You signed it, you live with it. Some years ago, this woman went to Africa. Well, she was living in Africa for a while, and she met this African guy. And while she was there, she struck up a relationship with him, got married. And when she came back to Canada, she realized, after she sponsored her husband, she realized that the lady that was supposed to be his friend, or his family member actually, was actually his baby mother. And so she went through the court. If any of you remember this story, please say so in the comment section. She literally had a door on her back. She was protesting, saying that these people are using, Canadian citizens as a doorway into Canada. And you know what? She won that case. But by the time the appeal process come through, so many years would have been tied into the system or be tied up that she was not going to get her wish to get him deported. It was just not going to happen. All right. So for the individuals who are crying out for this young lady to be deported, I'm going to say to you, um, don't wait or don't hold your breath. As adults, we have to be responsible or take responsibility for our actions. And sometimes when we make choices and it doesn't work out, we just cannot live with this, I don't know, sort of revenge to go. Because at this point, it would be wanting to get revenge. Because what benefit would you gain from the person going back home? Is it going to change your pain and suffering? I don't get it. I don't understand it. And so I'm responding to the individual who asked the question, should this person be able to deport that ex-partner? And my answer is no. You knew what you were getting involved with. You were willing to take the chance. You even came out and defended the young woman. So this whole idea at this point of getting the person deported or establishing this pattern in your conversation to say that the person, did wrong. I've always tried to split the justice, and I don't care who feel I'm on which side or the other. It has nothing to do with me. I'm also going to say that a lot of persons are online and they're very uneducated when it comes to the law. They feel like they can spread rumors or they can share story and they can call people's legal name. And because they said allegedly at the end, that it clears them from any kind of, liability, and they're wrong. First and foremost, you would have to say something is alleged before you even say it. And if you continue to do that and you mar the person's character, you can cause problems for the person, and the person can prove that because of what you have done online, um, they can, they had to leave their job, they got depression, they got, stress and whatever. You'd be surprised. Whomever is instructing that gentleman needs to tell him that be very careful what you're saying, because you have made it very clear that your feelings towards her are not pure at this point. You've confessed that you took everything in your power not to go down a certain pathway, and one has to respect that honesty. But at the same time, the very thing you're presenting and saying you're going to be honest with is something that can be used against you. Also realize that when you say certain things, anybody, I'm speaking to anyone in general, you see, when you get into a quarrel with somebody, be mindful of what you're saying. Because listen, you can say something that can be taken as threatening, even though that was not your intention. But when you say certain things, it can be seen as threatening. And someone who doesn't like you can go and harm that person and make it be known that you did it. We have to be very careful what we say, especially when it comes, to these subtle nuances in these conversation that make it seem like, the person is not safe with you or around you. Um, the next topic that I would want to look at is, why did the government side with the young lady? You can't just go before these panels or these immigration people with your tears. They don't care about that. They want to see proof. They want to see, as we call it, receipts. And so the receipts would have had to be presented. Um, so in this case, the gentleman had no legs to stand on, because the young woman would have proven what she needed to prove. It's time for people to stop holding this green card thing as a leverage over other people. When you make that decision to go down the aisle and marry somebody and bring them to whichever country you're living, just know, as I said before, it is a risk. And as much as none of us want it to happen to us, it happens far more often than we care to talk about. But the people are not learning. As I always say to you guys, listen to Mix Up Boss. They don't learn anything. I'm unsure if it's my people on my channel that is saying they don't want these topics. You see, I have a suspicion that it is coming from the other crew. And if it's my people, I'm here to serve my folks. I don't care about other people who try to flood my space and try to tell me where I should go, what I should talk about, or what I shouldn't talk about. It's my platform and I can talk about it if I want, and I can cease to talk about it. Okay. My way going forward, however, is not to even show no type of allegiance or concern for these individuals. I don't know them. These are talking points, and there are people who are actually going through similar things as these two persons online, and they could use some advice. They could use, somebody putting in their own perspective. Because sometimes when you listen to other person's ideas, it helps you make decisions. Does my loyal supporters want me to continue with having these conversations around the topic? Or is it the other side that is coming to say, don't speak on it anymore? Let me hear from you. Leave me a comment. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing. Stay blessed, everyone.